All right, welcome back to the Charged Up Show. Today we're going to have a great interview with the one and only Josh Cumber. He's an elite football player where he specializes in defense and makes the backfield his playground. He's currently playing for McMaster, and I'd say he's doing pretty well. Please welcome Josh Cumber.
Thank you, Keith. You make my job sound way cooler than it really is.
Quite an intro.
Yeah.
Let's start this off like right at the very beginning. We're gonna talk about your whole football career here and see exactly where it started.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a loaded question, but I guess from the beginning, man, it had to have been my dad that really got me into football. He used to play at Laurier back in the day, back when they wore leather helmets and all that fun stuff.
No way.
No, he was a bit younger than that, but still, it was then. But I just have like super early memories. Some of my earliest memories, I guess the concussions have kind of got to me at this point. But it's just going to Laurier games and just being in that atmosphere, talking to some of my dad's old friends, just sort of got me in the mindset that I really wanted to play football and see how far I could really go with it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cool. And you played with the Lions, started out, or it was Wolverines when you first started?
Yeah, way back in the day, it was Wolverines. When you were at the younger ages back then, they did, I don't know if you did this, Keith, but it was like house league in the springs. Yeah, so you would be like, it wouldn't be like Lions or Wolverines. It would be like, you'd be on the Ravens, or it would just be like mock pro teams, I guess. So that's where I first got started. Just you play, Keith would know, you play any position there. You can play friggin' O-line at some point. It's really anything. And then once you really get a taste for it there, you move up, and then in the fall you play with like the Wolverines, and that's sort of like the travel thing. You go to Brantford and Kitchener and all that fun stuff.
I remember House League was so fun. Nate played. He was
I played too.
Oh yeah, what was your team? You remember your team?
Well, when I played, I joined in Pee Wee, so we were the red team, and I was main. Yeah, we were called like the Rhinos or something like that. We were the red team.
Yeah, we were so dumb.
I mainly got played running back, quarterback, but I mean I was thrown around everywhere, right? But that was my main.
You're a dual threat, man. Running back.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember it was Coach Joe. We were called the Dinos, and he was like, "That's the stupidest name ever." So we called ourselves the Warriors instead. But,
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What was your position, Keith? Or were you playing back
I was O-line. I was linebacker. I played receiver. I was literally like everything. But I was a chubby kid, so playing receiver as like a blob was pretty funny to watch. So.
Yeah, you're just messing up the littler kids at that point.
It's funny. But so you got into Lions, so like that transition right into Lions, and then you started playing travel. How was that experience? It just kept getting bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, like when you're in the younger ages, obviously everybody's hitting their growth spurts and everybody's different sizes, so it's really hard to gauge everybody's skill. Like, I was a late bloomer. I was pretty short for the majority of my like elementary football career, I guess you could say it. So it was a good experience to actually play bigger players and get a taste for it. You don't really wimp out of tackles when you get that experience at a younger age. So once you get up to the grade 9, grade 10, the bantam JV stuff, it's a lot more competitive. You get to play teams that are farther away. You get that experience of going on a bus, and especially with the Cambridge Lions, like as far as I'm concerned, like throughout most of my career, I don't know about you, Keith, but I've like had really good coaches, some better than others, but I've been pretty most players are blessed with good coaches in the Lions organization.
Definitely, yeah. For sure. And like that kind of goes right into the next question perfectly, but like you said, you're a little bit of a shorter guy going into that, and how did you deal with in the best way possible with like a shorter guy going up against a receiver that's absolutely massive, or in those situations?
Like at the beginning it was especially in Canadian football, a lot of teams just ran when I was in like elementary school. So like at first it was just sort of like learning how to tackle when there's like tosses or like outside runs. And, I was just always taught like, lowest man wins. So I would just chop legs and at some points just hope for the best. And as you get older, guys' legs get stronger, so that's always not the best technique. You kind of got to get your body into it. But again, as you get older too, the offenses in Canadian football start to develop a bit more. There's more passing plays. Quarterbacks have better arms, bigger receivers. So a lot of it, when you're an undersized receiver, is just playing the man, because a lot of the time the receiver has a couple inches on you, and if you get fade, you get a deep route, there's a chance you could go up and get it just based on the height. So a lot of the time you just got to be more physical with the man, play hands instead of ball, so that you just don't give them an easy chance to just go up and get it.
Yeah, and for anyone's watching, you can definitely check out Josh Cumber's highlight tapes. He's known for that shoelace swipe there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from that a bit. I'm trying to put more of my body into it, like hockey or something. But I'll soak that for now.
How many concussions have you had from that? It gets dangerous after a while.
Yeah, you're throwing your head at elbows, but you're wearing a helmet for sorry, not elbows, knees, but you're wearing a helmet for a reason. But I've been pretty lucky. I've only had 3 for sure concussions. Like any football player knows, you get your bell rung a couple times and you never really know you go in the next play. But it's just same with hockey, and even rugby, anything where you really have to put your head into it. Athletes know that, so I've been pretty good.
So you then from Lions, you did you had a pretty good career there. It was nice. You had many highlights versus some teams. I know we all hated London.
Man, that was one team that I beat them once or twice in my career, but near the end, when I was in grade 11, 12, and then I think you would have been in grade 9 or 10 at that point too. They were good at all ages. London produces some good players, and I think it helps a lot that they're the Junior Mustangs or whatever their name is. So it's they're connected. They get to play at the at Western Stadium. So that's they just get a bit more funding than the Lions organization. So I think that helps a lot too.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
And I remember.
Well, they also have 3 times as many people to draw from.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which always helps.
And a lot of people don't remember the fact that Cambridge is big, but it's compared to a lot of the other cities that play in the OVFL, or you play in a hockey league, it's a small league. And especially when kids from Cambridge decide to go to Kitchener teams or Waterloo teams, or even Guelph sometimes. So it's we got some coaches recently in Lions where you're picking players from Brantford and Guelph, and there's better recruiting, but it's a small area, and it's just a pool of players that other teams in the area can pick from as well. So it's a lot harder.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember our first game last season was we were against London, so we were like, okay, this is gonna be a good one. But then
you were Keith, you were JV last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was second year JV, and we went in these guys are massive. We're gonna get. This is going to be a hard one to win or pull off at all. And we ended up, stomping them in the first bit, but it just got to us. And after that, we just kind of – people got hurt because we were playing so aggressively. And, after that, you just get knocked off person by person. And I think that's definitely where we fell short of the season after that whole scandal went down.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, it's just – and that's for people who are listening that don't know much about football, but you definitely get hurt a lot, and it's part of the game. Some people love that aspect of it, but it's an aggressive game that way.
Oh yeah, especially when you move up the ranks too, right? That's another question. How was the transition? I was an ex-football player, but I've never really played a high school game because my school didn't have enough players to play. But
where'd you go?
I go to Monsignor Doyle.
Oh, okay.
So it's smaller school, right? Small numbers. So right. I was actually going to transfer over to St. Benedict's, but I ended up not.
Fair enough.
But my question was how was I'm sure you probably played JV Lions, but how was
transition between the groups?
The transition, from lower grades to high school, right?
Yeah, you talking age groups from Lions all the way up, or transition into high school?
Yeah, transition to high school pretty much. Yeah, and then we can get uni later, but
yeah, for sure. But yeah, going into high school, it was like it was super weird. I remember in grade 9 just to like, have practice after school. Like it was just a totally new experience, which is really cool. But I think like anybody who's played high school football, like Keith, especially you played Lions and then transitioned into high school as well. There's like,
Such a
there's
difference.
there's different types of players you get in high school. There's like the group of kids that played travel before. They have a good understanding of like how it works, how like a practice should look.
Right.
But like that can cause issues because like some people can think like they're better than other players on the team, and that will just like screw a high school team off the rip if the travel players think they're better than anyone else. And then you have like the super athletic kids. You get like a group of athletic kids that come in. They don't really know football as well, but like they're athletically gifted, and you can teach them throughout their 4 or 5 years that they're there. And then you have kids that are just sort of like there that just want to play football. And with high schools, you get more of one group, more of the other. And I think that separates how good some high schools are in Cambridge, and how like, for example, Monsignor Doyle, like some schools even have teams at this point, which is like a huge issue, because there's kids like you, Nathan, that want to play, but it's like they're not getting the opportunity, they're not getting the funding. So like when you have powerhouses like Jacob right in the middle of Cambridge, you have guys transferring from different high schools just to go to Jacob, because like I understand you get more recruitment there, it's more funding to their program, they have a nice turf field, cool uniforms, like it's all like a really good program. But then that's taking away from the quality of like the leagues as a whole in Tri-City. So I think that was the biggest thing, is just like playing different teams at different ages. It's like you notice which high schools have more of the travel players and more like of the better crop of kids compared to the others.
Yeah, for sure.
I felt that same thing, like going into grade 9 from, like, I honestly didn't like it, like, because I from like travel and everything, like you're on a team where everyone wants to play, everyone loves it, and then you go to high school where, like, just like you said, there's a few people that love it, and like everyone else is just trying it. Or, like high school football is where it's at, so people like,
it's cool. Yeah.
So like, and then you have a lot of people who like are just there to be there, say they're there. So that's the part I didn't like about it. But then you got to think, like, when I went to like grade 10, it got better because you just switch your mindset around. Like, I wasn't expecting that at the beginning.
Exactly, and it, like you said, it's like it's shocking when you first come in, because you're so used to being around players and lines that are like passionate about winning, like passionate in practice, like it's not really any messing around. And then you get to a high school practice and it's like guys don't even know like how to tackle, so it's just like you're like, whoa, like I've been doing this my whole life. And then there's kids that haven't been, but it's just something you have to remember, because like I remember kids that I played with that like had no idea what they were doing in grade 9 of high school football, like never played an actual down of football. And then by like 5th year, they were a huge part of like when we won D8, like Nick Cesarini. I don't know if you remember him. He turned into like a really big player for us. Like he was an undersized linebacker, but he made a bunch of plays. Like was doubted a lot during his career, but he like overcame that and was like a big part of our D8 win. And not just like, that's a testament to like when you have a group of like Lions players, travel players, wherever they come from, you have to like, as those players, you need to be leaders and like help push these players along and like help be another coach while not acting like you're better than anyone. And just like that's how the best programs are made.
I think that's totally true. And like according, like, even like because I know Matt and James are both hockey guys too, and I think the information here just intertwines perfectly, like, because it doesn't matter what sport you're playing, as long as you're being a leader and like a team player, it just you excel.
But before you go on, who do you guys play for hockey?
Oh, I just play for Air. Just not junior or anything. I suck.
Oh no,
Matt's the good one.
Just today I got announced that I was going to play, and Air was junior C. They just moved to junior B, and that's what I'm playing next year.
The Centennials, right?
Yeah, so they were junior C. Now they're moving up to junior B.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I know a couple guys that used to play for them. That's big, and those are cool games to go to. Like they have a good home crowd.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I was just on an interview with Darren. He wanted me to say hi to you.
Oh, Darren, let's go.
Yeah, he asked who we were having on today, and he's like, make sure you say hi. I said, for sure.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully get Darren on.
Yeah, Darren said he's coming on in the next couple of weeks.
Darren, if you're listening, we want you here.
I want you, Darren.
We're ready.
Exactly.
The legend.
But just kind of going back, right, what you were saying there with the D8 win, like, I remember seeing that. That was insane. Like, do you think that was probably one of your biggest or your most memorable moments as a football player?
Yeah, for sure. Like it was like big just because of the coaches and just like the fact that like Benny's has never really won anything, and it was like the culmination of just a bunch of like shitty stuff that happened and just shitty ways to end our seasons previously. Like David sort of like owned us. Like they always beat us. Like Rez, when I was in grade 11, like they were just super overpowered, but we still had it. We always had good teams. So just to be able to actually like pull it off for once and like give like Vale and Lowe's, like, and Keith's the only one that went to Benny's here, I'm pretty sure. But like those guys are super passionate, and just when you have a program that doesn't get a lot of funding from the school, and it's like we get decent funding, but it's just like compared to like Jacob Hespler and like even Rez, it's just like when you like have like those guys that are still committed, even though it's just not that big of a part of the priority of the school, like it's good to get it done for them.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Vale, Mr. Vale and Mr. Lowe's, they're characters. They're pretty cool people though.
Yeah, exactly. They just care about the boys. They just want to win and want guys to progress from grade 9 to 12, and you know, I respect that about them.
That team was stacked. You had so many cool players on that. It was so cool.
Like we had Nikolish, Josh Nikolish, who's playing at Toronto right now. Horace Croft was our QB. He's at Guelph right now. He's looking good at Guelph. I think he's gonna be a vital part of their team in the coming years. And honestly, there's a lot of guys that played on that team. And luckily, we had a lot of fifth years, which showed how many guys wanted to win at Benny's. But a lot of those fifth years, like Stainsby, Avery O'Hare, like those guys still have the talent to go play university football, in my opinion. Colin McPhee's like a big guy that could have developed well in the OUA, in my opinion. And it's just like, that's just sort of my point to like the Benny's football and like a lot of schools. You know, if Doyle had a team or wherever, not Jacob or not like a big school, it's hard to get recruited and it's hard to get noticed.
Yeah, for sure.
To those schools to move on to the next level, and I think that's just a sad part about some of the high school football in Cambridge and in Kitchener is that like you lose a lot of talent because it's just like you don't go to a big name school, so you don't get recruited.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. That's a big problem too that people are trying to get around.
Yeah. So did you not get recruited since like because you had a fifth year, right? So did you not get recruited to Max like for the fifth year, or were you there like the fourth year and just committed to another year of high school?
Like,
or
in grade 12, I talked to one school like very briefly, wasn't anything crazy. Anyone I talked to said you got a fifth year and just get bigger, get another year of development. I was like, yeah, fair enough, whatever, all good. And then once fifth year happened and Lions, I still wasn't like really recruited that much, so I just started sending around like my highlight tapes. I'd get some emails, some phone numbers, and just like start emailing it around and hope for the best. And luckily, bless Mac for answering me, and then we just went from there.
Yeah,
cool. And that's like another before like you go on, just like for players who do go to small schools, like don't be afraid to send your tape out, and like don't be afraid to make your first move, because it's just like sometimes that's your only avenue. If coaches aren't coming and talking to you, you should definitely not be afraid to send your tape out.
And that's, I think, a great thing about Vale and Lowe's is they really help kids do that. Like they love doing that thing, so that's why, like we were saying before, they're so passionate about it, so they would go to their way to help you develop in the best way.
100%, yeah. And they were just doing with whatever they had, and it wasn't a lot. So it was just the fact that they put in that effort was, a lot of the guys appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's kind of move up the ranks here to right into university. There's some crazy stories from that. How'd that go?
It's good, man. It felt good to just finally like get to be a part of a team. Like in my first year, obviously, whenever you're first year in the OUA, you're not expected to play at all. So I soaked that the first year. You just sort of, you're on the practice team, you're on the scout team, just giving looks, not dressing games, which is tough. Sometimes you want to be out there, you want to be at least on the sideline in a uniform, because it's like, I guess some guys in their mentals think that you're not a part of the team, but that's just the wrong mind.
Gets to you.
Working up to that point, and it's just like a goal in the end, which like it's tough, but I really liked that part of it. So that's and I always wanted to play university football. So when I wasn't, dressing or anything, it was still like, this is what I've been trying to do. So it's just, wherever it goes, I'm going to go with it. And then once second year came around, I was, in the mix to dress and, play some special teams. And unfortunately, one of our veteran, like best DBs, he tore something in his knee. I can't remember the exact muscle. And it was like super, like it was a super shitty situation, because he was going into like a really big fourth year. Like he had come off a really good third year. He's like one of the best athletes. It's Ben Cross. He's one of the best athletes I've ever seen. Just a really like unlucky situation in practice where it just like, it could have happened to anyone. So when that happened, it was sort of, we had to shift the defense around, and I got an opportunity, and luckily I ran with it for the whole season. So it was, it was pretty cool. I didn't expect it. So it was just like, it was really like, whoa, like this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
sure.
That opportunity, you definitely showed them what you got. You got a pick right away.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I was kind of shitting my pants in that game, man. Like, it was just like, it was super hot. Like I wasn't really eating much. Like I was just like, wow, this is pretty crazy. Like, but it worked out. I did my film study, which is like another thing for young players. Watch film if you have it. Because that's all university football is, that I've found, is just like, it's practice and being on the field is one thing, but like you need to watch film, and you need to like not watch film to look for your highlights. You need to watch film to see what the other team is doing.
Yeah, no, that's very, very important too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you didn't get one pick. You got 3 or 4, did they say in that one video?
Yeah, in my first game I got 1, and then my second game I got 2. So it was like 3 in 2 games. And then I just cooled off until later on in the playoffs I got another one. So I finished the year with 4 picks, which was more than I ever thought I was going to get in my career. So it was just like, I was chill. I was cool with the 3 at the point. Like it's all good with me.
That's pretty sick.
Now after those 2 after that game with 2 picks, did you feel a lot more comfortable playing? Like, did you kind of relax and feel more cemented?
Yeah, like 100%. Like the first game, I got that pick, and it was like really cool, big play. But like I made a lot of mistakes as well. Once you go back the next day and watch film, it's just like, oh, like, okay, you can't really get fixated on that one play. So once you move on to game 2, like you said, like I didn't feel like I was cemented there right yet. Like I made a play, but still. So like once I had that game and I was pretty solid there, I didn't make as many mistakes. Like I played a cleaner game along with making a couple like bigger plays with those interceptions. So after that game, I was like, okay, like 2 straight games, like we're doing good, like just chill out. And I think that's the biggest thing. Once like guys get into starting roles, you just gotta like chill, like play your game. Like shit's gonna happen. Like everybody gets trucked, everybody gets scored on, everybody, shit happens. So like if that bad stuff does happen, you just gotta like wear it on the chin and get to the next play.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just keep flipping forward.
Yeah, 100%.
And gotta mention this for sure, that cup you won, the cup you're holding in your Instagram, that's probably gonna be the clickbait picture right there.
Yeah, man, that was huge. The Yates, that was something I always wanted to win. It's like a big thing in Ontario football. It's like one of the oldest trophies, if not the oldest trophy. So it's just like a lot of history in it. So being able to win that and like play in that game was like huge. Felt great.
Cool.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you did get a pick in that game?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Near the end. It was a weird game. They came out in a set where their biggest receiver, it was playing a position he never played. So he was running a lot of routes on me. They were throwing a lot. So it was something we didn't really see on film. So it was sort of just like, you know, it was off. It was, you know, when I'm watching film and it's something different comes out, you're a bit thrown off, but you know, we adjusted well. And it was like a full team effort. Like if you watch the film back, like so many guys are making plays. So many guys are like hounding the ball. Like it just showed like how badly we really wanted to win that game. And it was a really good feeling to accomplish it, because not a lot of people thought we would win.
Yeah. No, McMaster, I haven't heard them making that far, you know? Like usually it's Western or
they've had some runs, haven't they?
Yeah, back in 2011 they won the Natty.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so like for whoever doesn't know, in Canadian university football, it goes whichever league you're in. So like there's out west, there's Ontario, there's the Maritimes, and then there's the Quebec League. So you go through that league in the regular season. So if you win that league, you win Ontario, you win Quebec, and then you go and play a national semifinal against one of the winners of another part of the country. So we had to go play out west and play Calgary. So then once you win that, then you play the winner of the other game, and each game is like a cup that you win, and then you finally get to the national, which is the Vanier Cup. So back in 2011, Mac won the Vanier. The next year they went to the Vanier and lost, and then in 2014 they actually went to the Vanier and lost again.
Yeah, Keith, so know your facts, buddy.
Yeah.
I knew this.
Yeah, like it was pretty hectic in the early part of the decade for them.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, hopefully you can get there again. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean the Yates is great, but like once you sort of get that, it's like anything less than the national is sort of just like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Quebec usually dominates it, right? Sorry, Nate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the Quebec?
Yeah, they usually dominate it, right?
Yeah, it's usually like Montreal or Laval that comes out of Quebec. And the thing about Quebec is like they go through high school and then they do like semi-pro, like pre-university football almost. It's like I forget what it's called. It's called like CJEP or something. So like a lot of guys go into university in Quebec at like 20 or 21 years old. So they're already like full-grown men.
I'm kidding.
In the system. So they're always pretty beastly. But Calgary actually won this year and beat Montreal. So that was interesting to see.
That's what you remember. Coach Krebs. He came from Quebec, right?
Yeah, he went to Quebec.
Yeah.
Oh, where did he go?
He played in Quebec for some purple team. I don't know what it was.
No, yeah, I forget.
Oh, Bishops.
Yeah, Bishops.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Is he from Quebec? Is he French?
No, he just went there.
He went to play.
Oh, okay, cool. That's pretty cool. You get recruited to Quebec. I always wanted to, like, when I was younger, I would have loved to play in Quebec. Like, Montreal is just, it's a cool city, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's a Viking, though. He's absolutely huge.
Yeah, man. When you see that beard on the field, you're like, holy shit, man.
And when he yells at you, that's when you're just
that's the
in
thing.
trouble.
I never got coached by him, so I never had to soak that. But so he was a hard coach. I never took him for a yeller.
No, yeah,
I've never heard him raise his voice once.
Oh yeah, he got mad at times, but he was the most down to earth. He was my favorite coach of all time. I do gotta say, he's like, if anyone gets the chance to be coached by him, definitely go for it. He's amazing. But yeah, he sticks up for you in certain times, and that's definitely when you'll see him raise your voice, when he's sticking up for you. So.
Oh, you love to see it. Man.
Yeah.
Vikings picking up for you.
Yeah, I know. Anyone. Like, I remember there's one story where it was funny because we were going on practice, and we needed this practice because a big game was coming up. And there was a soccer team on the field, and they wouldn't get off. And then they started chirping us, or like our players, there's like a huge rival between football and soccer. So the football, like our team got on the field and started chirping them. and then the ref of that soccer team was screaming at our players, and then Krebs came and started like screaming at them, and they just like it was just brutal.
Yeah, once Krebs get there, like you shut it down at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We hit a lot of the main points I wanted to say. Like, I guess there's one last one that before a little story time, but like, what's some of the biggest challenges you see moving forward from here, from like the position you're in now?
It's literally just getting better. Like, cause like it was great to have like a season where I made some plays and I started games and it was everything I wanted out of a season in OUA football. But after the season, like I just reflected and like I'm nowhere where I want to be as a player. Like I feel like I've only like scratched the surface of like what I can do, but it's really up to me at that point. Like a lot of players can have a good season and then just be like, okay, like this is my standard, like I can do this, but like I want to go out there and make more plays and make less mistakes and play a cleaner, like more refined game as a DB. So just all together, I just want to get better every year and not like just stay at the same point I am this year or I was last year. Like I just want to constantly get better and do what I can to get better, because like I'm the only one that can control that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And part two on that question is, what are you missing out on right now? Like for some, like what would a university team be doing right now if COVID wasn't happening? Like what are you missing? What is every team missing right now?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just when spring camp got canceled. Like when COVID first started out, it was like beginning of mid-March, I guess it was, whichever week it was. But
yeah, I think it was March break. Like, yeah.
Right so before, we had started our spring camp, and that's like a month and a half of like practices every day. Like it's pretty much like training camp before the season, but like in spring, and it just gives guys who maybe didn't play a lot in the fall like a chance to like get equal reps as guys that did play in the fall. And like that was a big thing in my first year, getting spring camp, and like I got equal reps, and I sort of showed coaches that I could actually play. So that really helped in the long run of me playing more this year, I think. So losing spring camp and just losing that team aspect and the progress a lot of players make through spring camp is like, I think it's going to be really huge. And it's like, it's terrible for like our development, I think, but it's happening to everyone.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't really do much and nobody's going to be at a disadvantage because of it. Mm-hmm. But like the whole team aspect, being in the locker room, working out together, just like if COVID wasn't going on, I'd be in Hamilton and there'd be workouts every day and like I'd be working there, but now I have to work out on my own. And, there's online stuff where we can do meetings and stuff, but it's just not like being in the facility and like actually.
Yeah. How are you dealing with your workouts? Because I mean, I know probably all of us here have been trying to maintain, but for you, like especially like university athlete, like how's that going for you? Like, are you maintaining, or like, where do you find certain ways that work for you? Or
right, yeah, we're blessed like as a team, and I think most programs in Ontario, like we have a good strength and conditioning program. So we have like this app called the Team Builder on our phone. So we have like scheduled workouts every single day. You fill it out, whatever weight you do, all that. So like they're hands-on with it. But it's kind of weird just because like you don't have access to like squat racks or benches or the stuff to like really get you stronger in the off season. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of an adjustment. It's just more like high reps of doing body weight exercises, like push-ups, pull-ups. Like I got a few like dumbbells and like an Olympic bar. So you just gotta, it's sort of just adjusting. And the thing with our like strength and conditioning program is we do like a survey of like what equipment we have or don't have. So then our trainer adjusts our workouts based on what materials we have and what we have access to. So they do a really good job of keeping us like focused on what we're doing, but it's not what it should be.
Right. Yeah. Using what you can, I guess. Eh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
Well, all right. Thank you so much. I think I just kind of want to ask one last question, and this is really top of your head question, but do you have any like memorable, like, funny stories do you remember happening throughout your career at all? Like, either in end of high school or in university?
That.
Tough question to put
I know.
on.
I
Yeah,
just
it was
wanted
a little
to see.
heavy.
There's a lot, man, but like the one that like really comes to mind is there's this one time when we were at Benny's. We were in the change. It was my 5th year, and we were in the change room, and Stainsby and Cesarini, like they always had this just like weird rivalry where like Cesarini wanted to be friends with Nick, but Stainsby would just like treat him like shit and just like be like, no, screw you, bro. Like just like treated him like an asshole. And there's this one time I remember I was just sitting at my locker, like there was only a couple people left, just some of the boys. And I was just putting my like shoes on or whatever. And I look up and just Cesarini and Stainsby are in like a full out like body shot brawl. Like you're hearing smacks, you're hearing this. And then I remember they were right in front of my locker, and they separate and sort of like stare each other down. And Cesarini was known for his black belt skills in karate. Like this guy literally.
Oh no!
So we never got why he got beat up all the time, but he did. But I remember just they stopped and like locked eyes, and just I seen Cesarini do the swiftest kick to Stainsby just right in his nuts, and like Stainsby drops, but like was so pissed off that he just like got up, rushed Cesarini, pushed him into a shower, and like we used showers as lockers. So it was Horsecroft's shower locker, and they turned on the shower and just soaked all of his.
Oh my god!
Oh man.
Yeah, and then it sort of ended when they got wet. But yeah, that was the one that probably stuck with me the most. Was the vision of seeing Cesarini's leg just swift. It was crazy.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for right off the top of your head.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff sticks with you.
Yeah. Black belt
awesome.
kicks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. I sorry to put that on you there, but I wanted to see you get out
Not
of
at all. It's all part of the job, right?
Yeah.
Before you close it down, I just want to say, like, hell yeah, boys! Like, this is a good thing you're doing. Just like keeping creative, keep doing your thing, and just
I appreciate it.
Love seeing the effort put forth.
And I think
thanks.
like
Thanks for coming on.
It's great to finally
very
talk
much.
to you. I've heard so much from Keith. Like you're
I
down
know.
to earth guy, so it's great to finally talk to you
the
for a bit.
nicest
And,
guy of all time.
yeah,
Appreciate it, boys. Yeah, and just remember, Keith was a fucking stud too back in the day. From what I remember, I don't know if the cleats just yet, but
Yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta work on my stuff too.
yeah, we'll see what happens after quarantine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on again.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks.
cool.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
like
Thanks,
if we have the
Josh.
opportunity, we'll get you on again.
Yeah, no worries, boys. Anytime.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Take
Thanks.
care.
All right, take it
All right,
easy.
thanks, Josh.
Take it easy.
Appreciate you.